that sorry everyone, we're having a few difficulties on my end, I'm sure, with internet once again, but welcome to Mark Richardson from Richardson's Reads. How you doing, Mark?
Good, thank you. Glad to be here.
All right. We have Garage Geek. I thought it was on Mark's channel, and he's frozen. Yes, I was frozen, but apparently fine now. Thank you, David, for chiming in. I think you're the only one watching, David. So hopefully we'll get a few more. Oh, here's Greg from Ghost Readers in the Sky. All right. Well, we'll just jibber jabber a bit as people flip back and forth. So, Mark, I wanted to ask you a couple of things, but first I wanted to ask you about why you started a BookTube channel and, your kind of theory behind, or kind of your way you think of your channel, or its philosophy, or just in general like that. Because you've been doing this for quite a while, right?
Yeah, I'm going on my 9th year.
Wow.
I started it because I saw folks, most of whom are long gone now. I mean, not from BookTube, hopefully not from anything else. But
right.
Yeah. And some of them were fantastic, and I'm sorry a lot of them have left over the years, but that's what happens. But there's plenty of them have been around for the whole time I've been here, for sure.
So you've been doing it longer than Steve Donahue, maybe? Wow.
No,
or as long as
Steve was before me. And we're good friends. He's been up to this house many, many, many times.
Yeah, I saw in some of your past lives that you guys been together.
Yeah, he's that was the thing I think I loved about BookTube, because I've met a lot of BookTubers in person. So Steve, obviously, Jason Harrigan, for folks who remember him. Scott Danielson, another sci-fi guy, and then once traveled down to New York City, and because I'm a country boy, they were so worried about me. Ernest Lee Eston, with his channel's name is Ernest Lee Eston, actually took a train up from Washington D.C. so I would be protected.
Didn't want the country boy to get lost in the Big Apple, huh?
I couldn't even get to the turnstiles at the subway. They had to help me. So, I'm not an urban guy.
New York is a trip. I've only been there once, and it was enough for me. Thank you very much. But no offense to New Yorkers that are watching. Well, that's a kind of side question I would like to get to. But why do you think some of these booktubers quit? Do you think it's just hard to sustain? They get burned out. They have other priorities. What do you think?
I think it's all of that, right? I don't know. I've had flat spots myself. You're always trying to create stuff, and it's a lot of work sometimes. I don't have any of the bells and whistles, and I sit there and yabber on. But yeah, I don't know why. I think everybody's individual. They may have family things come up, and just other interests. So I don't know, but some of them are really good. Miss them. So I think one of us is frozen. Probably. Oh, let me see. Maybe he's just jumping out to jump back in.
If that happens again, Mark, please just carry on, because I think the last time that happened, I might freeze, but your side would be fine. So just
so I'll just keep
just go with it, please.
Yeah, I'll start doing I'll do the weather
today. Yeah. Well, so why did you start? What kind of kicked it off for you? What made you think you wanted to start a BookTube channel?
I had been commenting for a while, and then people just said, "Hey, why don't you make a channel?" And I thought, well, the technology was, not my bag. But then I found out I could do it on my phone, and it made it easy. And my wife helps me with editing and stuff, because again, I'm not that guy. And
yeah, I saw your credits for her at the end of some of your videos. Yeah.
So
does she still do that, or do you
no, she does it. Yeah, okay. She does it. Yeah.
That's nice of her.
Yeah. Yeah. So it keeps me busy and out of trouble.
and out of the house and in the grotto, right?
Right, which is always a positive. Yeah.
She probably thinks your pipe should be out there too, I'm guessing.
Oh,
right?
yeah, she would never allow it in the house, Then sometimes I have a big old stogie going, and that'll get you booted right out too.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the grotto a bit. So when you bought that house, was it there? Did you have to build it? Did you envision that kind of thing when you moved into the house, that you really wanted a special, your own man cave kind of, and why the name grotto?
So the name grotto is because it is not big enough to be a man cave.
I see. It's only a grotto.
It's only a grotto. That's the reason.
Well, mine is probably more a grotto than a cave then in that case, because it's pretty small.
So the front of my house, the house is 200 years old, and the grotto's on a porch, and it matches a room on the other side of the porch, and then above it is a big half moon porch upstairs, and big columns in the front. This used to be where people would come and sit on a bench and wait for the stagecoach.
Oh, wow.
So it
was like a station house originally?
So the town I live in is actually the man who started, the town's named after, actually owned this house, and he ran his business out of it. So they weren't usable as rooms. So I just got it insulated underneath just a couple weeks ago. And
was that quite a tough or expensive process?
I did the cellar too, because the cellar is really old. It has ginormous fireplaces in the cellar because they used to have the workers come over here. So I had to have it spray foamed, and a lot of it's huge granite blocks. So we needed to insulate the houses. That's a big deal here, and it was pretty pricey, but I'm glad it's done.
So that means you have like a space heater in there, and you can keep it pretty warm.
I actually have to come out and turn the space heater on
in advance.
Yeah, it takes a while. Yeah. But anyhow, go ahead.
Garage Geek here. Oops. Oh boy. Well, we have a nice offer from David at Garage Geek to jump in if I'm frozen. I might send him a link for that, but I think Mark can carry it pretty fine by himself. Mark, are you familiar with Rob at L-Space? Have you seen his channel?
I am. I just recently discovered him. I'm trying to get better at finding channels, and I'm not even sure how I found his channel, but I did.
I think some people shared it, including I'm pretty sure Gareth at Books, Songs, and Other Magic shared it.
Okay.
Rob's got a really cool channel, and he's very funny. And we have Jim from News from the Gilding. Have you seen him, Wizard Jim?
Uncle I have
Jimmy?
Not. So now I need to make sure I do.
He's highly, highly entertaining fellow, and a very good chap. And he talks about all things under the sun, and he's quite a talented artist and writer in his own right. So thanks. He's joining us from the UK, I believe. He's correct me if I'm wrong, Jim. I think you're in Devon somewhere, right? I believe, anyway. And I have been to England. I lived in England for about 10 months back when I was on an exchange program in uni. But and I got all around the place, but I don't know if I got in exactly Jimmy's neck of the woods. But I did get down into Devon and Cornwall, and I got around pretty well. It was a lovely 10 months, and I loved it. I've been an Anglophile all my life, but and that was a dream come true to live there for a while. So I'd like to go back. I've heard it's extremely expensive now to travel there, but where isn't it expensive to travel, especially being paid in Japanese yen? That's for sure. So the yen is very weak at the moment. So it goes pretty far here, but it doesn't go that far back in the States. I can tell you that. But anyway, Mark, you want to talk a little bit about your background? You're in Vermont, and you were born in that area. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was born about 15 miles from where I'm at now, so I didn't make it very far. But Yeah, my family's been here for centuries, so I've
Wow.
got relatives everywhere, and I now live here. I've lived other places, obviously, when I was in my 20s and 30s, and even into my 40s. I traveled quite a bit, but came back home, and I'm a library director. I run a small
Oh,
library.
wow.
Yeah, so I've been a librarian for quite a long time.
My sister was a librarian for quite a while, but the in the Timberland region.
Yeah, I'm losing part of what you're saying, but anyway, I'll fill it in, and we'll see how it goes. So anyway, I live really close to where I was born, but I love being a librarian, and it's a small library, but we've done a lot with it over the last decade, so that's pretty neat.
Okay, well, I don't know why we're persisting and having trouble, so sorry about that, everyone. And Mark, thank you for carrying it. So you said you live quite far from any city or whatever, so the library is in the nearest city. Do you have quite a drive?
There are no cities. There are none. So no, it's in my town.
Somewhere?
Yeah, it's in a little village area. It's so we have villages and hamlets, and I'm in a little village, and then the library's in the hamlet.
So even smaller. My understanding is a hamlet's smaller than a village, right?
Well, they usually start out there. It can be a legal term. So 200 years ago, this town may have been the center, the village here, but the hamlet grew more. So where the library is, the library's been there since 1902, and it just grew a little more on that side of the town.
Well, and there's Jimmy confirming that he is in Devon. Thank you, Uncle Jimmy. British isms, the Anglicisms of villages and hamlets, and some of the names of course, taken from British.
Everything
cities,
here is
yeah.
Everything here is either very British sounding, and everything's designed there because it's New England, or it has Native American names, or in Vermont, quite a bit of French, because this was part of New France. And we have a mix.
I do not know what's going on here. This is really annoying. Sorry, everyone. It's just a crapshoot. Sometimes it's perfect and never a problem, and sometimes it's a clear blue sky. I don't know why I'm having any issues other than maybe there's a lot of Japanese people getting up and hitting the internet, and they're all on the same network. But anyway, in Washington State, a lot of it is Indian names. Napa Vine is supposedly, where I grew up, was supposedly named after Princess Napawana. At least it was that's the lore anyway. Yeah. I don't know if there was any sort of princess there. Of course, they wouldn't have called them princesses anyway. But
right.
And Chehalis is a tribal name. The Chehalis tribe there. There's the Cowlitz and all that. So what brought you into the Coast Guard, and how did you end up coming over to the Pacific Northwest, Mark?
So I went to Maine as a teenager because my father was an Episcopal priest, and we were up there for a while. And on the coast of Maine, I fell in love with ships and boats, and I spent a lot of my teenage years on boats. And then when I was old enough, I joined the Coast Guard, and the boats I wanted to run are motor lifeboats, 44-footers, and I wanted to run those, and Pacific Northwest was the most famous place in the world for them. They're self-righting, self-bailing, surf boats, rescue boats. So, yeah, it was sort of a dream come true.
Can you tell me why the Pacific Northwest had that reputation? I hadn't heard that before.
Oh yeah, well, the biggest
waters over there. Or?
Yeah, it's they have rough waters everywhere, but there you have bars and narrow coves and all this stuff that makes it. So the Coast Guard has its heavy weather training school at Cape Disappointment. So
really,
it's really famous place. Yeah. So
I've
yeah,
been there, but I didn't know that was the heavy weather training. Wow.
yeah, people from all over the world go there to learn how to operate those craft, and that's what I did for several years, and really enjoyed it. And I was at Quileute Indian Reservation, which and
Right.
you've been to Forks and La Push.
Forks was the nearest
Yeah,
happening place, I guess, right? Which is not saying much.
it can be a little rough. You're
It's a
logging
little
the
bit of a
sailors.
dreary place there. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure there was sometimes a clash between the Coast
Oh yeah,
Guard's men and the locals.
yeah, yeah. We had fun. It's a beautiful place, beautiful culture.
So when you were out, were you mostly just in that area? Or did you go farther along, like up towards Squim or Port Townsend or
So
around that area?
I would run the boats for the yards. When we had to take them in the yards, we had to take them to Tacoma. So I would run my boats up around Port Angeles and then through the Straits and down into Seattle, which is one of my favorite places on earth. I love it there.
Puget Sound's a beautiful area.
Oh yeah, you have
Tacoma's
the
not
killer
so nice, but Seattle.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a beautiful. I love the Pacific Northwest. And
Yeah, I
you
do
grew
too.
up there, right?
I did. I grew up in. I was born in Seattle and ended up moving back to Seattle briefly after college. But my mom married my first dad, as I call him. It's a complicated story, which I won't go into. But anyway, he had been in the Coast Guard previously, but they moved down to this Winlock, Napavine area, which is down about halfway between Seattle and Portland. I grew up in a little town called Napavine, and but my grandparents on my mom's side lived in Seattle, so I'd go and spend vacations with them and stuff. And I remember I've always liked boats too. I don't know why I never got into any. I would have, if I went and did it again, I might go into the Coast Guard. I was a heavily scouted in high school graduation by all the armed forces except for the Coast Guard. I never thought Coast Guard was part of the armed forces, really. Yep. So I didn't want to join the Army, or the Navy might have been okay, but I didn't end up going that route. Let's put it that way. But yeah, there was a marina down. My grandpa would take me down to the locks in Seattle, and there was a marina down beneath where my grandparents lived in Ballard, Seattle, if you're familiar with that area at all. Yep. And I'd go down and wander around, slip through the gate, and I didn't mess with anything, but I wander around the boats, the sailboats and things. And I always loved the sea, and but I never ended up, getting into that kind of a career, which unfortunately would have been pretty fun to have done. Yeah, and then went to college up in Bellingham, Washington, and then did a year overseas studying abroad in England, and ended up back down in Oregon for a while. And Oregon's a nice place too. In fact, its coast is nicer than Washington's coast, really, as far as more picturesque and probably equally rough. Places like Florence and Coos Bay and
Big Basin, Coos Bay. Yeah.
And Astoria and Seaside and all that around there. Very nice. So eventually I ended up over here. I was in Korea first, and then I came. Oh, we got Sean D. Stanfast. Cool.
Hey, Sean.
Well, I missed a few things, so let me get back here. Let's see. Yep. Yeah. David says, blame Japan. Yes, I will blame Japan for this, for sure.
Yeah.
Cape Disappointment. That's an interesting name. Yes, I'm sure it was. It has a reason behind the name. Do you know the background on that, Mark?
Yeah. Well, there was probably some people trying to get into the bay, and they probably met with some disappointment. I'm thinking it's a very dangerous.
They crashed on the shoals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Rob with the zinger again. Cape Disappointment is my superhero alter ego.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And Sean D. Stanfast is here. I think I got him. There we go. Howdy. Hi, Sean. How you doing? And apparently the stream is more stable now, which is good to hear. Thank you, Jim.
Knock on wood.
And Greg from Ghost Readers in the Sky. I love the Columbia River Maritime Museum in Astoria, right across the river from Cape Disappointment. Fascinating place. Yes.
Oh, I'd love to see that. I've never seen that. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Yeah.
In the story of the place that most stands out to me is the Flavel House. Did you ever go in there? It's this old. I think he was a sea captain, and he built this really fancy, by Western American terms, house, and it's got all these gables and weird little side rooms and stuff. It's a fascinating place. I took my wife there several years back. It's really cool, and the story is just a really pretty town. I would like to go back there again next time I head back home.
It used to be a Coast Guard air station in the story, I believe, for the helicopters.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they have. But I don't think I've been in the Maritime Museum. So thanks for that, Greg. I'll check that out next time I get down that way, for sure. Well, people are probably wondering when we're going to talk about books, Mark. So
I don't do books.
You don't do books? You're a librarian with a bunch of books behind you.
I do, yeah.
Well, speaking about naval matters and the sea and such, you've got a very impressive maritime book collection. Have you been collecting that since you were a young man, fascinated with the sea, or is that more of a recent stuff?
No, I've been doing it my whole life. Started off with my dad giving me some books by Tristan Jones, who was a wonderful writer, storyteller, probably a little bit of a tall tale guy, even though it's not fiction, but if you find them, they're well worth it. He was a Welshman.
So it's fiction? It's fiction,
no,
short stories, or nonfiction? Okay.
Maybe stretched a little bit. Just been, sailors and fishermen tend to exaggerate a bit.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, Sean, it's no problem. Glad you're here. You just missed some wonky technology on my end before, so you probably timed it right. Well, I know you have. I think your very first video that you ever made for BookTube, from what I recall, was you showing your Patrick O'Brian Folio Society editions, right?
Yeah, my wife spent years collecting those for me, and I have them all. I love them. I'm about ready. I tend to read them in the paperbacks. I'm about ready to start.
It's a lot easier to read them in that.
Yeah, and I love these Jeff Hunt covers. Yeah, so I'm about ready to start the Ionian mission. I just finished the Surgeon's Mate.
Yeah, I remember I saw your review of that. And did you come up with that thumbnail? That was a great thumbnail.
No, Sean D. Standfast came up with that thumbnail.
Wow, yeah.
I made sure I know all the high-tech people to help me out.
There you go. So you're definitely like Steve Donahue, where if you have to do some fancy footwork online like that, or you have some friends to help you out.
Yeah, I need all the help I can get. Yeah.
Well, I've been slowly learning some things, but I still don't know how to put someone's face on a picture or something. But
yeah, you did a great job with that. I liked it. Yeah.
I can slap it up like on the side. I didn't have much to work with because I still don't know. Some people can grab them off of YouTube videos, and I haven't learned how to do that yet. So I'm getting new things. I'm learning things here as I go. So it's probably good for my brain. Keep it fresh after getting toasted by the lachrymose students I have to deal with half the time over here. But anyway, so your wife got those Folio Society editions as presents for you. That's really nice, because
they only did a few a year. So it took a while,
So you had got them pretty much complete before you started your channel, right? So you've had them for quite a while now.
I have had them for a long, and it doesn't seem like it, but yeah. Now that you mention it,
do they reissue those? Are those original ones, and do they just keep them in print, or? Yeah,
I don't think they keep them in print or anything. It was a big set. I think they went through it once, as far as I know. I know
Jules Bird has been picking those up now, so they must still be out on the market. But maybe
you can buy them used, yeah.
I love that series, but I paid enough for this one, and this was cost me $150 or so, and that's
well worth it.
Yeah,
that's a good set. Yeah,
it is a good set. I just feel bad in the video. I said it was a Norton set, and it's actually HarperCollins, so I had to try to correct that in the comment later.
Yeah. In the scheme of things, it's fine, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that video has gotten surprising amount of views. It's like my third or fourth most watched video.
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
It keeps getting views every month, so that's great. You know, and I still have some that are just lying there. But
Yeah.
if I get over 100 views on a video, I'm pretty happy. So, you know.
If I get 5, if somebody enjoys it, you know what? I'm not even sure how many of them are real. You know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's there. That is a point. That is a point. Yeah, I always wonder about. I know Steve Donahue has the theory about the bots. You know.
Yeah. Could be. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm sure that's true to an extent. He might be, you know, it might not be as bad as he states, but
Right.
because I can always tell when I have a real subscriber when I get their name notification, right? Although quite a few people subscribe who have their settings private, so I can't, you know, there are channels that have subscribed and I know they've subscribed, but I can't see them. But it's how they have it set. Anyway, it's been a slow climb. I'm just now a little recently, I think last month hit 600. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just I'm not worried about it too much, but it is weird how sometimes it'll just flatline and then all of a sudden it'll go and then it'll flatline for a while and so it's really a strange thing, but it's a lot more than I thought I would have got when I started 8 months or so ago now. I think it's about 8 months. I started in end of March, I think. So
yeah, if I want to lose subscribers, you know how you do it or how I do it?
how
Make a video.
Well, you know, some people, it helps if they're you know, fairly easy on the eye, like M at M Reads has just hit 1,000 after 5 months, you know, so
Yeah.
you know, and there's another, what is her name? There's another young lady doing booktube videos, and she's just skyrocketed. She hit 1,000 in like 2 months or something. So obviously we older gentlemen take a little longer time.
Yeah.
But
And we don't have much time left, so I don't know. This is fair.
Well, anyway, well, I want to ask you a couple of other things about book related, Mark. I know you're into Star Trek, but if you let me ask you the eternal question: Star Trek or Star Wars?
I'm sure I'm old enough, so I was the original series watching it when it came out.
Me too. Yeah, I was pretty young, but I saw it. Yeah,
right. I was young too. Yeah.
And I'm sure you were. Yeah, I didn't mean to imply anything.
Yeah, but I remember when Star Wars was coming out, and we knew it was coming, and we were so desperate for science fiction that I was excited about that, and I went to the opening night in our town, and loved it. So I've never been one who has to have one or the other.
No. I like them both too, although I will confess to a preference for Star Trek. But
yeah, me too. But you know, let them be creative, and I'll watch it and see what's going on. So I'm fine.
Yeah, my grandma on my dad's side was kind enough to take me. I can't even imagine. She didn't know what in the heck this thing was. She took me in the only seat I wanted to sit in the front row, I guess, and so I would have been about 10 probably, and what a good sport. She sat there in the front row with me, probably wondering what the hell have I gotten myself into.
Yeah, it must have been a little shocking.
But it had a big impact on me. I think I saw it like a month after it was out. So the word was out on the playground for sure that it was.
Deal. It was a big deal.
But it's funny, we were, like you say, we were starved for science fiction back then and things. But when I look back at the science fiction movies from the pre-Star Wars era, there's some of my favorites there, like the Andromeda Strain, Colossus, the Forbin Project, the Mega Man, Soylent Green, Logan's Run, Planet of the Apes was 68, and of course 2001. But there was, I think, Star Wars kind of marked the end of serious science fiction on screen for a while. I love the space opera stuff, but and I know right afterwards Star Trek: The Motionless Picture came out, but I remember. I actually kind of like it now. I know what they were going for, but when I saw it at the theater, I was rather disappointed as a 11-year-old. That why is everyone so emotionless? Why aren't they? Where's the friendly banter between the crew? And why is there a 20-minute scene of us gaping at the Enterprise? And stuff. Now I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm an original series guy.
Yeah.
Now, do you have? I know you have those Cushman books that you showed off, which of course I have up here too. But do you have any novelizations or any of the James Blish
Yeah, I have
collections?
all that stuff. Yeah. I used to have it for like Next Generation and those too, but I just ran out of space. So I just keep the original series and the novelizations there. I don't really bother with, I'll read the other ones, but I don't have room for them.
Here's speaking of the sub thing, and Jimmy is saying my early channel years were utterly shambolic. Took me 3 years, I think, to hit 100 subs.
But
Well,
think about it: 100 people listening to you talk and talk about whatever you want to talk about. 100 people is pretty doggone good. You're not going to get that in my hometown. You know what I mean?
if Andrea didn't from Infinite Text didn't know about your channel before, I bet she will now.
I've
Mark,
watched
because-
Andrea's channel for a long, long time.
Yeah, she might. She probably knows about you as well. But yeah, hello, fellow librarian who loves the sea. Yeah, she's, as you know, she's I believe an archives librarian
Up in
for the
Canada,
university
right?
up there. Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
she's in.
Great channel.
I think she's in. Oh yeah, Mark and I go way back. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, the way you were phrasing that, Andrea, I wasn't sure if you knew him or not. So it was, I guess, an inside joke there. But yeah, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you in Ontario somewhere, Andrea? I'm sorry that I don't know where you're at from, but I know you're in Canada, and I know you're a librarian.
Rare book.
I'm a rare book librarian. Sorry, got that wrong. Okay, I knew it was some rare
That's
book
actually pretty
archive.
cool.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Toronto.
And I know she had a video not so long ago where she went to Montreal, which looks like a lovely place. I've only ever been to Vancouver, having gone to college in Bellingham just across the border, back when it was easy to cross the border.
I've
And
crossed
not-
that border a few times up there.
Well, because I'm not a drinker, and a lot of my college age friends, because drinking age I think was 18 up there, and so they would want to go across the border and get drunk and stuff, and I was the designated driver, and I would reluctantly sometimes drive a group of my friends up there as they went bar hopping or whatever. But no, Vancouver is really nice, and
I love
Vancouver Island is nice.
Yep.
So, but that's the only province I've been in. I've not been in any other. But Canadians that I meet over, because Canadians get everywhere, and I see them wherever I travel. But they always are willing to accept someone from Seattle as an honorary Canadian. So
Yeah, we're not very far from Montreal here. It's a short drive. So I've spent a lot of time in Montreal and Quebec City, and I love Canada.
first time, Jim says, first time I've encountered Mark will subscribe when I sling my hook. There's a good British
Thank
expression.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And Rob said, just subscribe to Mark. I am definitely probably not a bot. Probably not.
Yeah, I like
Probably not.
probably. Yeah.
And Mark, if you haven't checked out Rob's channel or
I will.
Jimmy's channel, please do.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
Jimmy and Andrea are saying hi to each other. Now, have you followed this new booktuber weird fiction collection that Jim did the cover for, and Andrea and Jim both contributed a story for? Have you seen this?
I have not seen this. What
Weird Frequencies. Yeah, it's very cool. So some of the other guys you might know, like Jake at Pulp Mortem, let's see, Ira at SF Words of Wonder, Richard at Vintage SF, Joseph Reads Books, Tim at Secret Fire Books. Correct me, Andrea and Jimmy, if I leave anyone out. Who else? Brian at Bad Taste Books, and Chris at Liminal Spaces, and Nick at the Book Graveyard. I think that Virgil at Literally Books. I think there were 13 stories, and Andrea has one in there, and they're all kind of weird fiction. And Jake at Pulp Mortem edited it, and they sent it off to this. Have you heard of Fathom Press? This line where this Justin, I forgot his last name, unfortunately, but he he takes old kind of horror and weird fiction books, and he reformats them into, they're out of print, and he reformats them into mass market paperback and publishes them. He did Bad Ronald by Jack Vance not so long
nice.
ago. So,
Yeah.
so he very nicely apparently volunteered to help reformat this book so they could have it in a mass market paperback size. So it's out now. It's available from Amazon. I got mine coming on Monday. It's printed probably in Amazon Japan here, and they thought it would be cool to do a booktubers collection of writing. So
That's pretty neat.
that's
I like that. Yeah.
I don't know how to throw a link up on the screen or anything. I'll try to do that in the after this thing is finished. But I think it's only $11 and 300 and some pages. So
Wow.
seems
Not
like it'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to have something when you know the backstory of the people and stuff. It's fun.
Yeah. I think that's quite an interesting idea.
Yeah.
And I think Richard's is not Richard does the introduction of Vintage SF, and he has a comic in there, not a brief comic.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of comics, I did that video recently asking advice about that, and you warned me very, very, very sternly to watch out for collecting. You want to talk a little bit about your background with comics and
So I have still a lot. I've gotten rid of them over the years, especially if I get an omnibus, because I just don't have the space.
Or you get an omnibus and then you get rid of the single issues.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I held on to some of the Conan stuff probably longer than I should. I just can't bear to give it up. My interest was I did Conan through all the Dark Horse and Marvel and all that stuff. I like Savage Avengers, and I had Vampirilla because she was a very important person when I was a teenager.
Yeah, I can well imagine.
Yeah.
Savage Avengers. I don't know what that is. I've heard of the
It's
Avengers.
when you put together all these different characters. They have adventures, but they have focused ones on Conan. And he goes through time, and he gets thrown.
Savage Adventures. Sorry, I thought you meant the Avengers, like the
No,
team.
it's Savage Avengers, I think is the title.
Oh, it is called? Okay.
Yeah.
I have to look into that one. I've not heard of that.
Yeah, I stopped on those a while back. I've stopped going to my local comic shop, so it's almost an hour drive for me to get there, and I found that if I go in, I buy stuff. Well, now I'm kicking myself because they got that new iteration of Conan.
And they're doing those. They're recoloring some kind of best of from Savage Swords, which look really cool.
Which I saw on people's channels, and I'm like, ooh, that looks nice. But
and Andrea is reminding me of a couple of things. You have my favorite sea story or novel of the seas. I wonder what that is. You have to remind me, Andrea. It must be something by William Hope Hodgson. Yeah, I forgot a couple. Sorry, I forgot the Outlaw Levi Wallace and Eric Wegg. I'm very sorry for forgetting those two people, because I have read a book by Levi Wallace. He wrote a novel that he published on Amazon called The Sunken Door, and it was quite good. And I've read some of Eric Wegg's novelettes, sword and sorcery novelettes or novellas, and they're very good. So thank you for reminding me about that. Okay, Garage Geek saying Bocalo. What's Bocalo? Do you recognize that reference? And Rob apparently just got his copy of Weird Frequencies while the stream was going. Wow.
Oh, nice.
And Garage Geek says, I'll try. Again, David, you got to help us out. What are you referring to? We might have missed. I might be a little late with the chat. Sorry. Andrea, me too, Rob. I got it just a few minutes ago. It's beautifully formatted. Nice. Oh, I'm sorry, Andrea. You were asking if I have a favorite sea story. The last name of the guy is Bocalo. Thank you. Yeah, Justin Bocalo is his name.
Okay.
David at Garage Geeks had some correspondence with him because David ordered every single one of the books they put out, and he talked about it a little while back. Yeah, they look great. I got to get some of them. I tried to get the link for the book. I think someone will put it up soon, and I'll pop it up. Thank you, David. Okay, Andrea, my favorite story of the sea. Well, I'm not nearly as widely read as Mark here, but I'd probably say the Aubrey Matron series. I've tried a few of the others like Dewey Lambdin, and they were okay. Who's the other guy? Who's the one that does Ramage? Mark?
Dudley Pope.
Dudley Pope. Yeah. And those were fine. I like those. And of course, C.S. Forster's Hornblower, I like. Favorite story of the sea. Yeah, I haven't, and I confess to being not having read Moby Dick, so I can't. I've been meaning to try that. Jules Burt had a great video about how to kind of approach it, and I'm going to get to it one of these days. I have a ebook copy, and I should have a hardback copy somewhere back home. But yeah, I would probably say I can't really pick out a favorite of the O'Brien novels of the ones I've read. Again, I have not completely read all of them, and I'm kind of savoring them. I don't want to go through them too quick, although I know they really reward rereading, but because there's so many. I talked to a friend who's read them maybe a dozen times. I work with a guy who's a big fan, and he says, I keep finding new stuff in them, and I realize how funny they are that I didn't catch the humor the first time.
Yeah.
They might be, there's nothing weird about them, Andrea. Andrea likes the weird sea stories. As far as a weird sea stories, probably something by Hodgson, like Voice in the Night. F. Marion Crawford's The Upper Berth is a really cool, creepy story. Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it quite enough of this genre. How about you, Mark? What are if you were going to name your top 5 stories, novels or series related to maritime fiction or nonfiction or whatever? I know you have a lot of nonfiction as well, but let's stick to fiction now, I guess. What would you recommend?
I put Patrick O'Brian above the rest of them just for literary quality.
Yeah, he's really a high level literary quality for sure.
I do probably the Horatio Hornblower, C.S. Forester ones, just because I grew up with them and loved them. I like Douglas Riemann, and I like his. Yeah, I've got some of those. I like those copies. Yeah.
Beat to Quarters. I got someone left this in the university staff lounge as a giveaway, and I said, yeah, I'll take that.
Heck yeah, that's a good book. I've read. So Douglas Riemann wrote Age of Sail books under the pen name Alexander Kent.
Kent, right, yeah.
Yeah, so I read the Alexander Kent, but then I read Riemann's other books, which are World War II naval battles. Which I really, really like. And then I like Dudley Pope, Dewey Lambden. Julian Stockwin's a British guy who's sort of inherited the mantle, I think, since after Patrick
O'Brien died.
Yeah.
Julian, what's his name? Julian
Stockwin.
I'll have to look into him.
Yeah, they're called the Kidd novels. K-Y.
Oh yeah, Kidd. Yeah, okay, I've seen those around.
Yeah. They're not as well written, but they're fun.
Well, that's the problem. I kind of started with O'Brien, and so when I go back to look at the others, they're good. I mean, not that they can't write well. It's just a different. Although I think I've heard from some people that O'Brien's too dry for them, so they prefer someone like C.S. Forster or whatever.
Well, I can
He was certainly a fine writer. So.
Yep.
Okay, we got some more comments here. Here we go. Okay. Hold on. I'm getting way behind on these. Andreas says, I figure in Japan, sea stories would be very prominent given that it's surrounded by water. Yeah, but I don't think they were. Most of the boats in history, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, because you probably know this better than me, but they didn't tend to go very far out into sea. They kind of followed the coastline a lot, as far as I've read, and they weren't really that seafaring that much, which is kind of what led to their fairly insular culture for many centuries. But I think stories along the coast and are probably quite prominent, but I don't know too many seafaring stories. Their navy is more of a more modern incarnation, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Color me stodgy, but Moby Dick is my favorite sea story. I don't think you're stodgy. I think that's probably a pretty great sea story. Followed closely by Treasure Island, flying my old man flag here. No, Treasure Island is great.
I love Treasure Island. I think it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with either of those. Those are great choices. Is it true that Forster books inspired Star Trek, or I'm making that up? I would think that's probably true to an extent.
What it is it
the wagon train to the stars.
Well, Star Trek and Forrester were actually both, Gene Roddenberry and Forrester were actually influenced by a real character from history called Admiral Cochrane. So Captain Kirk, Horatio Hornblower, Aubrey of Aubrey and Manor are all somewhat based on a real British character named Admiral Lord Cochrane. And he was a frigate captain during the age of Nelson, who had an incredibly wild, adventurous, unbelievable life. And all these people knew about him. And so C.S. Forrester books did influence Roddenberry, but the character they're going back to is Cochrane.
Well, I think also because they in Starfleet they use isn't it the naval system of rank?
Yeah, but that so like Sulu is named after the Battle of the Sulu Sea. You see, so because Roddenberry has that background. So it's true that C.S. Forrester influenced, but Roddenberry also knew about Cochrane, the guy everybody basing their characters off.
Let's see. We have quite a few comments popping in. That's great. So Greg said, Andre and I are buddy reading a sea story in a couple of months. You want to drop a hint, or is that a secret there, Greg? Jim at News from the Gelding. My father is a big fan of O'Brien. The diagram at the beginning showing the names of all the rigging always intimidated me. Love the Hornblower TV series. Yeah, I have the Hornblower TV series, and it's great.
I love the TV series.
Yeah, it was good casting, I think. Ian Griffith. Yeah, those maps with all the sails. I know that is kind of. Hi, Jim. Thank you for checking it out. Great to see you. And we also got Tim from Secret Fire Books stopping by for dinner. Hope you've been reading some bangers lately. Well, I just dropped my video of where I read the Edgar Rice Burroughs Castback trilogy again, and that was a banger for sure. Those were bangers for sure. And I'm reading your favorite, Tim, Harry Harrison right now. I'm reading The Stainless Steel Rat Wants You, Slippery Jim DeGriz, which is a lot of fun. So,
I remember those. A long time ago since I read any of those.
And I also got a couple of these DC compact comics that are really cheap. Even over
I like
here,
those.
This All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
So, and I got Batman Court of Owls, which I know. Oops, dang it! I keep hitting this thing. Sorry about that. Batman Court of Owls, which I know. Here, let me do something here real quick. That I know Tim reviewed on his channel, and this is not the full one, but it's they do a really nice job on these little compact. Pointed me in that direction, and I'm glad he did because it's dang it, here we go. They're really fun. So what were we talking about? Oh, right. The what I thought with Aubrey and Maturin, with all the nautical terms, it does come thick and fast, and you can tell he's meticulously researched it, but you just kind of let it wash over you, and eventually, if you're a lubber like me, I guess you get an idea of it. I'm not quite as lubberly as Maturin or Maturin. You're probably saying it correctly. I'm sure it's Maturin, but I've always said it in my head, Maturin. So it's an old.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, he doesn't. I'm sure if Patrick O'Brien was here, he'd take me to task for not saying it right.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
Okay, what else? Here we go. People greeting each other in the chat. Treasure Island is a fantastic book. One of my first major reads.
Yeah, the other one by him I loved was Kidnapped. I always like that.
Yeah, Stevenson's great. Yeah, I like his what is it? The New Tales of the Arabian Nights or whatever he wrote there.
Yep.
And Jim also got his copy of Weird Frequencies. And let's see, what's Greg saying? Andre and I are reading Lord Jim.
Nice. Wow.
I've seen the movie. I haven't read the book. Superman, Batman, Harrison.
Not a fan of Harrison, huh?
I see. Yeah, good for those, but Harrison. Yeah, well, I know, Tim, you didn't like Death World, but I think you need to try some of the Stainless Steel Rat books. They're really fun. I'm not really
Those were
big,
high school books for me. When I was in high school, Stainless Steel Rat was.
Yeah, I read this. I've read this one, the Stainless Steel Rat Wants You. I read this one probably around that time, but I'm rereading it and really enjoying it. It's the Stainless Steel Rat character, Slippery Jim Degrees is really a fun character. Very, very cocky and sure of himself. Very fun. Good narrator. I think it's night and day. It's going to be night and day from Death World. I know Tim and Jim and Jake and Nick on their Ebes Elusive Exclusive Book Society really hated the Death World trilogy. So let's see. Here we go. What do you got? We got some more here. Really sorry, got to walk the plank, almost midnight here. Okay. Thanks, Jim. I really appreciate you catching the stream live. Thank you very much. And bon voyage. Have a good evening, sir. Thank you. Let's see. What do we got here? It's good to hear the love for Treasure Island. Yeah. Lord Jim loved this Peter O'Toole movie, the Peter O'Toole movie adaptation as a kid, which led me to the book. Yeah. I need to try the book. I need to get into the book. Yeah. So let's see. What else did I want to ask you? Oh yeah. So what are some of your formative books and authors? You mentioned you read Treasure Island and some other thing, and the Slippery Jim Degrees Stainless Steel Rat books as a kid. So what in tracing your love of books back to your childhood, what were you first into, and what did that how did that kind of progress into what you're reading now?
So I grew up where I grew up. We didn't really have TV, so books were going to be big anyway. And we have long winters, right. So I think it was pretty natural to get your entertainment where you could. And it was hard to get comic books because we didn't have the shops for it. I'd get something on the spinner rack once in a while. So I mostly read what was lying around, and a lot of it would be like the classics, which would include Treasure Island and Kidnapped. Would also include stuff that probably was way beyond my understanding at the time. But I used to grab the paperbacks that my parents would leave lying around. So my dad, it was a lot of the British thriller writers like Hammond Ennis, Alistair MacLean.
Did you read like Len Dayton or John le Carré or any of those guys?
Well, John le Carré for me would have come later. So I grew up in the time of, so I was a teenager in the 70s. So Alistair MacLean sort of ruled the roost.
Well, I think he would have been pretty easy for you to digest too. I think.
Yeah, he was. It was just straightforward. Yeah. So I liked those a lot, and a lot of it was just what was lying around. And then of course,
you're just a voracious reader that would grab whatever you could, and yeah.
I still do that. Yeah, and I read a lot of books at one time. I've always been that way. So I never.
So do you like juggle a nonfiction and a fiction and?
Well, this table over there, I don't know if you can see it. There's probably 9 books going at once.
Wow. Here, let me see if I can make it wider so we can get a better look here. Let me get this different setup here. Or let me tell you what. Let's do this. Let's make you large. Can you reach over there, and I'll try to make you bigger if I can get it to work. There we go.
Reading Dune, House Atreides. And then
which one is that in the cycle? Dune, House Atreides.
That's the first of the house books.
Okay.
So there would be followed by House Harkonnen and then House Carino. So this is the first of those 3.
Are these ones that Herbert
Brian? No, his son Brian and Kevin J. Anderson wrote them. Then I'm reading James Morris, Heaven's Command. So that's history about the British Empire.
Wow. That looks really interesting. Can you show that again, please, Mark? Can I see that cover again? That's really interesting.
And then I'm doing a reread from the 70s. And I'm due to do the reread.
The Lord of the Rings. I haven't seen that edition before.
Oh, it's a beauty.
Wow, it's lovely. Wow, Look at that. Look at that beast.
I'm real happy to be reading that. Then I'm reading the biography of Fremont, the explorer, and then
I'm familiar with Fremont. Where was he exploring mostly?
Upper Midwest, I think.
Okay.
And out west, yeah. And then,
so this is in the Lewis and Clark era or post Lewis and Clark era?
After Lewis and Clark, yeah. And then I'm reading Civil War, Phil Sheridan life.
Wow.
And then because Revenant Vin, his channel, I didn't know about this, but I guess it's a tradition. It makes sense when I thought about it, but it just never crossed my mind that ghost stories were such a big part of Victorian Christmas and in Edwardian age. And I guess it makes sense with, Christmas Carol. So I found this little, it's a graphic novel. Well, I don't know if you call it a novel.
Oh, cool.
It's them telling ghost stories for Christmas.
4 gathered on Christmas Eve. So they tell 4 ghost stories, I'm assuming.
So, yeah, you'd have the characters.
That's very cool. Wow.
Yeah, so Mike Mignola's in here as one of the authors.
Nice.
Or one of the artists also. So some of it's colored. And some
is in black and white. I guess it depends on the story.
So what is that?
Or kind of sepia, kind of?
Sepia, yeah, I think. So I'll give it that old feel.
Yeah, that's very cool. So you heard about this from another channel.
Yeah, and let me see here. So those are the
table of contents. Tales. Okay. So yeah, it looks like a framing story and then maybe 4 ghost stories. Okay.
So cool. That's from Vin over at Revenant Reads and
Revenant Reads. Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen that channel.
Yeah, he does the sag along where they read the sagas. I've done that with him for years. Good channel. Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's very cool.
Read. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm familiar with the British ghost tradition of the ghost story for Christmas, and I quite enjoy those. Although because I know M.R. James always used to read one to his boys and his fellow teachers at is it Eton where he taught? I think it was Eton. Anyway,
I've never read him.
Oh, I highly recommend him. Yeah, he's great. Penguin has a really nice. Do I have that collection somewhere nearby here? I think there's a newer version, but this here. Let me make myself bigger.
Yeah, I can't see it very well.
It's hard if your computer is anything like mine. It's too small to see well. So
I have to wind mine up with a crank, so I don't know.
Yeah. That's really cool, though. I'm curious how you juggle all of those. Yeah, this is it. The M.R. James is the Penguin.
That's neat. Yeah, I heard of him, but I never read him, and I will, as part of this Christmas thing. I'll try to read one of his.
There's much nicer copies of this, I'm sure, but this is what I have. It's just one I picked up somewhere, and it is convenient because it's got all his ghost stories in there pretty much. So. Hold on, I want to ask you some things about what you're reading and your style, but I want to get back to some of these comments that I'm getting way behind on here. I think, let's see. Here we go. Secret Fire. I know practically every scene from Treasure Island by heart, but I've never actually read the book. I should change that, huh? Yeah. If you're going by the Muppet Treasure Island, Tim, I think you should. Yes.
Yeah.
No, there's some really. Hey, Tim, I know you go to Barnes and Noble begrudgingly at sometimes, and there's a really nice children's illustrated classic version in hardback by them that I showed off in my Barnes and Noble video. It's really nice. It's a beautiful edition. I'm sure there's tons of them out there, probably even going through your consignment shop, really. But because Tim's family recently got a children's consignment shop they're running. And also, or your neighborhood bookstore that just opened up. Timothy is T.H. Brandt. Yes, you should. Yes, Andrea is the Reading Sea Stories police. She's saying, go for it. Okay. Let's see. What do we got here? By God, Tim, you have to read that book. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Did somebody say Lord of the Rings? Yes, I'm way behind now. Sorry, Jim showed that beautiful. Do you have that nearby? I mean, Mark showed that beautiful one. Did you want to show that again, Mark? Does everyone have Lord of the Rings in multiple editions? I have paperback and my copy, but it's not as nice as. Where is my Lord of the Rings? Here it is. I just got this one in Japan. It's just it's just a basic.
Oh yeah. Well, you got it all in one volume. That's nice.
Yeah, and I got those editions that have. I think they're the Tolkien illustrations. I've always liked them, the
Yeah.
kind of folksy, Shire pictures and stuff. I like those a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
And I used to have, they're very rare and sought after now, I think, the ones that, what is it, the Ballantine editions that had to be pulled because they were unauthorized. They had those weird squiggly monsters all over the covers. So
yeah, I have those.
John C. Fremont, that must be the explorer Fremont you were talking about, right? I hadn't heard of him.
It's actually the author of it is Alan Nevins, who I had heard of, but the writing is really good.
Oh,
yeah.
Nevins does sound familiar. That name sounds familiar. I'll have to look into that. Jim at Mystery Man was confirming that he does have multiple editions of Lord of the Rings. I'm sure many people do. I have too many copies of Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I had Larry from Larry's Library on a chat a while back, and and he loves The Hobbit in particular. And I think he has at least 5, 6, 7 copies of The Hobbit, including a really, really nice version he got. If 4 at last count, I gave set 5 to my stepson a short while back. Well, that's a good idea. Okay.
Yeah, I gave mine to my daughter. The paperback.
This is a good one. Hey, Tim, do you have the Sword of Shannara edition of Lord of the Rings? That's funny. It's kind of, and here we go. Tim's going, sigh. I do, Rob. I do. Yeah, well.
I've got them. I got
I have some fondness for Sword of Shannara because it was my first reading of that kind of thing. I read it before I read Lord of the Rings. I was familiar with The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings in general. I had seen the animated shows, and I think I had read some of The Hobbit. But the Sword of Shannara was the first long book that I ever read. I mean, because it's 800 or some pages, and I remember being a young teenager and going, woohoo, I read that long book. And I liked it because, of course, it's a good story because he's took it from a better story, obviously.
Right, that's fine.
But, it wasn't bad. Let's see. We got something from Greg about Fremont. Fremont explored mostly in the Oregon Trail and California Trail country. He was a U.S. senator from California and at the first Republican candidate for the U.S. president. For you. Wow.
So have you read this? Has he read this particular biography?
I don't know. Yeah. Greg, have you read? Would you mind showing that again, Mark? And I'll make you big so he can get a good gander at it here. Hold on. Let me. I'm trying to.
I think it's a reprint I have here.
Come on now. Moving you over. There we go. Okay.
Is that better?
And yes, thank you. And the author is Nevins, you said?
Alan Nevins. Here, let me do this. Maybe easier to read.
Yeah. By Alan Nevins. Fremont. What's the subheading?
Path marker of the West.
Path marker of the West. Interesting.
That sort of, threw me a little bit. And it's University of Nebraska Press.
Okay.
Really well written.
Here we go. The Fremont District in Seattle was named for him. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay, well, there you go.
I'm learning some stuff here.
Yeah. Watch out. We're learning. Someone mentions the history of the American West, and I light up. Yeah, of course he would. That's Greg's got a great channel. If no one's checked out his channel, he talks about lots of cool books. I have not read the biography by Nivens. Okay, but he must have read something else or just knows a lot about it. So,
pretty major character. I'm sort of ashamed to say, big blind spot of mine. I love exploration and Western exploration, or any. I don't care where it is, but there's always.
I need to read some books about. I need to read some books about the. I don't know if you've read much Bill Bryson, but he wrote this book called "In a Sunburned Country," or also called "Down Under," where he talks about visiting Australia. It's a wonderful book, and he keeps mentioning all these early explorers in Australia that have names of their named areas of Australia and the outback are named after them because they went off and never were seen again.
It's a pretty rough place.
The only country where a prime minister went for a swim and never came back, sort of thing, so one day. So it's, I bet you there's some really hair-raising tales there. But yeah, I haven't read much beyond, some of the Lewis and Clark stuff. And of course, I have a book. I have this I have to get to. Burton.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Penguin Burton. Talk about an adventurous guy. My God, this guy was something else.
Yeah, his wife had to burn his papers because I think he was really adventurous.
Oh yeah, maybe some
Yeah.
things she didn't want to have known. Maybe
I think that's the case.
I mean, that guy, dressing up as an Arab and going into Mecca, where if they had found out who he was, he would have been killed, and getting a
Yep.
spear through his cheek and still going on. I mean, that guy is
Yeah.
something else. Well, I wanted to ask you, you're juggling all those books now. How do you do that? Do you read a little bit here of this one, a little bit there? Do you read whatever strikes your mood?
Yeah, mood. It's moods.
And how long does
what
it take
room
you
I'm
to
in.
usually finish? Sorry, what was that?
It matters what room I'm in. 'Cause
Yeah,
the whole
okay.
house is full of books. The whole house looks like this. So I've always done it. I don't know why. I don't know how it works. It just works. It doesn't bother me to go from one to the other. And who knows when some are finished, and some I'll sit down and,
Plow
right
through.
through them. And other times it might sit around for a couple weeks. But yeah, I've always done that.
Well, if you have all 9 of them there in that room, did you bring them there for today, or because you?
Yeah, I
you
was going
said
to show. I thought you might ask what was reading, and then it's also a way for me to get to work and start reading some of them. Right? If it's sitting up in the living room or something, then I don't, go in there that day or something.
Yeah, that's nice. I have a few books downstairs, along with my son Kenji's books that he sometimes tosses around. He goes in phases as far as what he's looking at, but most of mine are up here. But again, like I mentioned many times on my channel, many of them are not here. So I'm planning to this next summer when I head back home to my family's place, see my dad and my sister. I have a bunch of books in totes up in the attic above our garage, and I'm gonna try to go through them, and the ones that as many as I can, I'm gonna take them up to the harbor there in Seattle and ship them on a shipping container over here. So
yeah, I've heard that's the way to do it. I've heard other people say
that looks the cheapest way. If I bring them there and if I pick them up on this end, which I would have to get some help from someone with a car, because I don't have a car here. I don't need a car here in Osaka because the public transportation is so good, and I walk a lot. But that would keep it under $400 for about 6 or 8 boxes or something. So that's reasonable.
That's reasonable, yeah.
I think if I have them delivered to me here, it's going to be double that, but that still might be doable. It's probably be easier to have them delivered to me here, some big pallet of them, and I'd have to unbox them all over.
That'd be fun.
So I'll have them unboxing my own collection, which I rarely see. I go up in the dim recesses of the attic when I go back home, and then I try to
dig around,
pick through, because I try to take some back with me, but I end up buying a bunch of other new used books that take up space in my luggage.
So I'd like to see you do a video of that.
Yeah, well, and Larry was saying I should also do a video of me going through them too, I guess. So I might do that as well if I can. Speaking of that Burton book biography, that Burton is a very good book, Jim says. Quite the guy, Burton. He could learn a language and speak it like a native in 2 months. We can see the books fine if you leave the screen split in 2 equal parts. Okay. Thanks for that, Jim. I'm glad to hear that. I think the problem isn't so much what you guys can see as what Mark and I can see.
Yeah, I couldn't see him. Yeah.
But thanks for that, though. That's good to know that you guys can see him okay anyway. For me to see the comments, I have to make the screen go really minimized in StreamYard here. So I'm glad that the tech issues, the connection issues sorted out.
Yeah, it's funny. It was just at the beginning, and then it just seems to have smoothed out.
Yeah. So I'm glad that most of the viewers came in after those hiccups. I don't know if David from Garage Geek's still here. He's probably off doing something like cleaning his garage or sorting through his 65 shipments he's received recently. He's got a live stream tomorrow about comic book addiction, and so that should be pretty interesting. Him and a guy named Donald Rex are going to talk about that, because there is a addictive quality to buying anything, I guess, and having I've noticed that I have to watch that myself. I've collected a lot of Blu-rays and DVDs as well in the past besides books, and there's something really addictive about having a package coming. There's something on the way being delivered to you, and you're anticipating it and stuff. So you got to be careful to parcel those out, I guess. They're especially exciting for me here because I don't have a lot of sources for used books of the type I tend to read. But I am excited that my wife found on Yahoo Auctions Japan some same guy is selling several lots of books and some really cool stuff in there. So I'm hoping to snag a couple of those, but I don't want to jinx myself because I don't have them in hand yet. The auctions end tonight on most of them. So one of them has 4 people watching, so I might have a bidding war there. But they have a bunch of, I don't think they're the Avon A Merits. They have a bunch of A Merits with really awesome covers. They may be a second edition of the Avons, and there's some other cool stuff in there, so some Andre Norton, and there's a mix of cool stuff, and there's some Burroughs and things. So I'm going to try to snag some of those with any luck.
I want to show you my first Andre Norton. I've got a lot of them, but I still have the one that.
Oh, with that great cover too. Yeah.
Yeah, I
had that's a cool cover. Yeah. I haven't read much Andre Norton. I've always saw her books around, and I've had Quag Keep, which in my DAW collection, and I remember trying to read that off and on since I was a teenager and getting bogged down. It was a little slow, but I think some of her earlier, space opera stuff is probably a lot of fun. So I haven't read any of her Witch World books.
Yeah, I've read some of those. I don't know. I liked this when I read it, but like I say, I probably read this in like the mid 70s.
Well, it's cool you still have it.
Books, yeah, I've gone back to books like that and thought, what was I thinking?
Well, it's funny what stands up and what doesn't, for you. And so some of it might be also nostalgia, but I'm pretty forgiving about that stuff. But like the Doc Savage books, they're not great literature, but I still enjoy them. I got out of them for years and years, and then I don't know if I came across someone talking about them somewhere. Not a BookTube channel, but something. And I started picking up some of them, and I really enjoyed them. So they're not all equal. There's some bad ones or some, I wouldn't say bad, but some lesser ones. And then you'll come across the banger that's just really firing on all cylinders, and they're really enjoyable. You're never going to compare them to, Chaucer or Dostoevsky or anything, but they get the job done with what they're trying to do. So
yeah, I've still got a pretty good pile of them. I love looking at them and bringing them down and just remember.
Those covers are something else.
Oh,
too.
I love them. I love them.
James Bond covers. Yeah. And I got some of these cool shadows and stuff, but
I don't have any of those.
Yeah, I didn't, because I read a couple way back in the day, and I thought they were pretty well written, but they were so much from the point of view of the criminal and not enough shadow, because the shadow is so mysterious in the books. But the ones I've read this year, I just finished reading another one. The shadow is more front and center in these, as far as he is ever front and center, and they're cool. They're pretty cool. The fact that I believe it was Walter R. Gibson who was writing most of these in the early ones, and 2 a month. Can you imagine writing 2 pulp novels in a month? That's those guys could just bang
I've yet to write a novel, so no, I can't.
But and again, we're not talking we're not talking deep literature or anything, but still to structure a story together with a mystery and some action elements.
You got to know what you're doing.
Well, there's something about those writers back in the day that I guess they were being paid by the word, and they needed to get paid. So David's still here. He's doing a puzzle while he listens. Thank you, David, for supporting me. I appreciate that.
That's one thing I cannot do. I try puzzles, and
I don't have the patience for them.
No.
David has a separate channel, Jigsaw Geek, and which is really fun. He does the kind of time lapse of him putting the puzzle together.
That's cool.
And I'm impressed with his patience.
I don't know how to do it.
It looks like a fun hobby, And again, David has multiple interesting hobbies. Oh, here's Levi. The outlaw Levi Wallace can't hang out tonight. Good to see you streaming, Jeff. Thanks, Levi, and congratulations on the book publication of Weird Frequencies. Sorry, not Strange Frequencies. Weird Frequencies. And I'm looking forward to reading your story. Should have that in my hands here early next week, so in a couple days. So it's actually tomorrow, if it comes on time. Amazon Japan is very good as far as getting things to me in good order, but they're not always on time. I guess because they have to rely on stock. This one is being printed here, I think, so I should have it in hand. But yeah, there's some stuff that's also held up for me are some of the kids' books, believe it or not. I don't know if you ever heard of this series, Freddie the Pig. Have you ever heard of Freddie the Pig by Walter R. Brooks? They were published in the, I think, 40s and 50s, maybe. Let me see if I can grab one real quick. Where do I have these? You know, some people poo-poo kids' books, but I think good ones. I forgot who had the quote that, you know, someone said, you know, I think it was C.S. Lewis, that a book written that's only readable by kids is not a good children's book, right? So these are the Freddie the Pig books.
Oh, I've seen them. I didn't know what they. I've seen them, but I've never read them. Okay.
And they have so they're by Walter R. Brooks, who also wrote a really cool science fiction novel called Ada, about under his own name, I think, where a man is shrunken and almost like an act of God because he was trying to smash some ants at his picnic, and he's shrunken down to ant size, and he befriends an ant, you know, and that's really cool. So. And they have lovely illustrations by Kurt Weiss or Wiese, or I don't know how you pronounce his name, probably Weiss or Weiss. And you know, anthropomorphized animals, but they're really fun. There's lots of like kind of gentle satire of pompous individuals and things in there, and they have often mystery elements and things. They're really fun, and I think he wrote about 23 of them or so.
Oh, wow.
And they were out of print. I read them all in the library as a kid, or most of them. And I forgot who started putting them out. It wasn't Overlook Press, was it? What was the company that did this? Yeah, the Overlook Press. And they started putting them out in hardbacks again, which was really nice because there's quite a few fans of these that read them as a kid. And I'm going to do a video on these one of these days. You know, it's got nice, you know, and kind of it's not end papers, exactly, is it? But yeah, I don't know all the terminology all the time. But like this one is not the first one, but it's it was published in 41, so I guess they're from the 30s through the 50s maybe, and they're really fun. And those books are still good to read, right? So a good kid's book is good for an adult to read, you know.
Yeah, I've been trying to reread the Narnia books.
Yeah, I need to read his science fiction trilogy too.
Oh, I've never read that.
Oh yeah, the Out of the Silent Planet.
Yeah.
And Paralandra, and what's the first one? I have it over here somewhere.
Hideous Strength or something.
Yeah, That Hideous Strength is the last one. So I have Out of the Silent Planet, and I have That Hideous Strength, but I don't have Paralandra, so I need to pick that up.
Okay. Yeah, I've never read those.
Yeah, Rob's confirming C.S. Lewis. Yeah. Okay, well, it looks like Jim's out too. Take care, guys. I can't stick around, unfortunately. Excelsior. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate you stopping by. How are you doing on time, Mark? Are you okay for a little bit longer?
I do this all night. I sit out here all night. Those books
well, I'll eventually have to eventually go and make my son some pancakes for his breakfast. But
oh yeah, that's what
I'm good for a while. Good for a while.
This morning.
Yeah. So I know you're a science fiction fan. Obviously, you're a big fan of maritime fiction and historical fiction. Do you have any other genres that you enjoyed? You're not much of a mystery or thriller.
Yeah, I don't read a lot of mysteries. I do read a lot of, classics. I read a lot of history. Yeah, I'll occasionally read a mystery. I remember enjoying the Simenon books, the Maigret. I like Sherlock Holmes, obviously. Remember Solar Pawns?
Yeah, August Derleth.
I liked
pastiches.
those when I was a teenager. Yeah, I haven't read one.
Yeah, I've read some of them. Yeah, I just figure I might as well just read the originals. But yeah,
Right.
but he's fine. He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were very successful. It seems like because
Yeah.
he has, or
Who
at least
was
he
it?
published
Who
a lot
did
of them.
the? Oh, I remember it was 7% Solution and
Nicholas Meyer.
Nicholas. Those were good. I read a couple
Yeah,
of those.
and the movie that I think he directed was very good with Nicole Williamson, and Robert Duvall was a pretty good Watson. I was surprised.
Okay, I don't think
That's
I saw.
it. Yeah, the movie is quite good. Nicholas Meyer is
Okay.
the guy, of course, who went on to direct Wrath of Khan, and
Right.
I think he did the Undiscovered Country too. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those I remember liking, but I don't, and I did go through a phase where I read through the Agatha Christie. I liked Perot. Wasn't much on the Miss Marple ones.
I have a real soft spot for Miss Marple, but then
Do
I
you?
link it a lot. I like the books very well, but the Joan Hickson BBC series from the 80s and early 90s is just so good, so well done. And she's
Okay.
perfect as Miss Marple. No one else has caught it like her, because everyone else plays it cutesy and coy. Miss
Right.
Marple is not cutesy and coy. So Joan Hickson plays her as sometimes dithery, but mostly steely blue eyes. You know, the mind of a meat cleaver, mind like a meat cleaver.
Well, nice.
Gray-haired cobra. You know,
Yeah.
slinking gray-haired cobra is what the Inspector Slack calls her. You know, is that gray-haired cobra stalking around somewhere? You know,
That's awesome. I read
Yeah.
the MC Beaton Hamish Macbeth ones. I like those.
Yeah, those are nice, cozy ones. I read those. She wrote another series, Agatha Raisin, MC Beaton, and I didn't care for those nearly as much. I don't mind the occasional cozy. I guess my version of cozy would be like a golden age mystery, but Agatha Christie is not cozy exactly. You know, if you ever read and then there were none, that is a nasty piece of work book there. That's a pretty hardcore one. So that's not like her usually at all. But even some of the Poirot or Marple books have some pretty serious stuff there. But yeah, I think that people think of those as cozies, and I guess compared to a bloody thriller or a Hammett or a Chandler or something, they are. But
and I'm not in those types of thrillers. I like the old British golden age, like Alistair MacLean and Dighton and those types of things. But I tried to read a Joe Nesbo once. I've tried a few of these really dark.
They are quite dark. Yeah. I like some of the Scandi Noir TV series because you're only spending a couple hours with them, like a Wallander or something, but they are pretty wallowing in misery. But if you're reading a book, you're living with those characters and that stuff for a little while, and it's a little too much. Yeah. I used to read a lot of those kind of thrillers. Like I read the Kay Scarpetta ones from Patricia Cornwell, and I read several of those kind of thrillers. And now I'm just kind of like, I'm not interested right now so much in those. But the Golden Age ones are more interesting to me. But I do really like stuff like Chandler and Ross MacDonald and some of the American PI stuff. They're gritty, but they're also just beautifully written quite often. So especially Chandler. Chandler's prose is awesome. But
I used to read the Mike Chane mystery magazine, and my grandmother would get it. And now I'm seeing Jim on his channel. I think he's rocking.
Yeah, he's getting a bunch of them. Yeah. I just have one Mike Chane novel, and I read it this year, and I really enjoyed it. So I remember seeing the mystery magazine all the time. So I'm going to pick those up. I have a couple. I think I have at least one Shel Scott, Richard S. Prather hanging out somewhere in my collection back home. So I got a bunch of things I got to read, and being on BookTube is reignited my book buy. I still always would buy books going home, but I was kind of cutting back on buying books for a while, and I was focusing more on movies and TV shows, older ones that are hard to find. But now I've dialed that way back, and now I'm back on buying books again. But I'm trying to be really more laser focused on what I want, and not.
And now you've added comic books.
Yeah, I'm going to be pretty careful. Everyone's telling me to be careful about that Pandora's box. So, these are like $10, right? So
I've got
you get a lot of value.
I got the Watchmen, I think.
Yeah, Watchmen. I already had Watchmen over here somewhere. but yeah, and a lot of it is like David Garage Geek mentioned. They're mostly newer stories, other than Watchmen, I guess, and maybe V for Vendetta. But I'm gonna get a few of those, and I'll get some omnibuses eventually, probably. And I have Commandy, the first Commandy volume, on its way.
See, now that one's cool.
This week.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah.
Well, the getting getting them in the kind of, I guess, collection it just makes so much more sense when you get 20 issues at a time, or like these are 12 to 13 issues. So that's value for money. That's one of the reasons I never really got into collecting the individual comics, because they were unending, for one thing, and it was just nickel and diming you to death per issue.
And they're expensive now for single issues.
They're like $5 a piece or something now, aren't they?
Yep.
I mean, they're on nice glossy paper now and all that. So
some of them are beautiful, but it's your fix every week, because you don't want to fall behind.
Right.
There's a story thread where one of these omnibus, as long as you don't drop it on your foot, because then you're going to the hospital.
Yeah, I know. Larry at Larry's Library is a big omnibus collector. I know David has a bunch, and Michael K. Vaughan, of course, with his epic collections.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to be like Michael, where he has every Marvel epic collection. I don't want to read 20 years worth of the Fantastic Four. I might eventually get one Fantastic Four run or something, but that's particularly noteworthy. But I'm going to get some more Hellboy and some BPRD, and I'll get the second Commandy eventually, and a few other things. But I'm going to kind of just pick and choose a few here and there, because I'm just not much. I think they're cool. I've always liked comic books, but
right. I got.
We're losing some people here. I'm subscribed to Mark's channel now. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jeff. I'll see you all sometime somewhere in the internets. Thank you very much, Greg, for hanging in there. Oh, we got some from David. Hey, I have all the epics too. I didn't know you had all of them. I'm in the same class as MKV, at least in that regard. Moving to the top of the line. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had all of them there. I didn't know that, David. I knew you had a lot, but I don't think you have as many Omnis as Larry, though, right? I think Larry takes the cake for Omnis. I'm sure there's guys out there that have more than him, but do you have a few Omnis up there?
I have about 20 or 25 of them.
Oh, wow.
But mine are random. I don't pay $125. I go to Ollie's, and if they have it marked down to 50, it's still in plastic. I'll grab it.
I've heard a lot about this Ollie's chain. It must be a East Coast thing.
Yeah, when you go in, it's really random though, because how they're buying, you would expect. It's not like a bookstore, so they're
it's just whatever happens to be there on a given day, huh?
Right.
I imagine Half Price Books might have some too. So
yeah. So I've got like my Conan omnibus is number 5. That's all right. I read it, enjoyed the heck out of it, But
that would, Larry or David at Garage Geek could be like, "Oh, I need to get 1, 2, 3, 4 first." So,
oh no, I agree with them, but I still got to.
No, I hear you. No, just you can grab it for a third of the price or something.
Yeah,
I mean, because some of those are probably, especially if they're out of print, are like 150 up. Some are way beyond that, I'm sure.
Oh, I imagine. I've never looked, but they have a cover price of 125. Some of them.
Oh, we have Donald Rex. Hey, Donald. Donald Rex popped on. Donald Rex is a really cool guy. He loves the Charlton comics and all kinds of comics, older comics. Comic books aren't an ending, but the ones you want and can find are limited. That's the fun. Yeah, that's a good point.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And David says, yeah, Larry does have a lot of omnibuses. I only have about 20 as well. But if you have all the epics, I don't even know how many of those are, David. Do you know? Have you counted? I think Michael K. Vaughan's hallway is completely filled with.
That's a good foundation in that house.
Yeah. Well, I think David's at least. I know Michael's in California somewhere. I don't know where, but David's in Los Angeles, and I think his omnibus collections and epics are all in his garage. And I'm not sure how the foundation is there. I'm hoping it's pretty good.
Well, you would hope so if it could hold the car, right?
I'm up on the second floor, so I think I got enough weight on the floor here. So if there's an earthquake, watch out. But much. There will be at some stage for sure.
I've only
But-
been in one.
Yeah, oddly, the terrible one that had the big tsunami here, the one near Fukushima, that one, apparently you could feel pretty good tremors here in Osaka, pretty strong. But I was walking home at the time, and I just was walking, and they have the garage shutters here. And I just saw the garage shutters shaking a little bit, but I couldn't feel any shaking myself. And I was like, huh, that's weird. Is it windy? I don't feel any wind. And then I got home and turned on the TV and found out what was going on. But I have been in a couple that I definitely felt, though. The longest one I was in and some of the apartment complexes in Japan are built to kind of shake a little bit so they don't crumble.
Right.
And it was somewhere in the middle of the night, and I was in bed, and it was going like this, and I was trying to put my pants on so I could clamber outside, and then by that time it was done. But,
yeah, I felt this minor one here, enough so I noticed, but we're not used to them here. And come to find out, it was real. First, I thought I'm having a medical emergency.
Well, David just said that Mark should speak one slight earthquake, and he's gone. He's toast.
Yeah, I know he's right. Yeah.
And apparently there are about 200, maybe 300 epics. Yeah, I'm sure I can count
is there that many?
them on. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I have a
And
few.
David, how many have you read of those? That's what I want to know. So I bet you've read half of them probably, or a third of them. And again, this goes back to that Harlan Ellison quote. What use is a library of all books that you've read? So, you've got to have a bunch of books that you haven't read. I'm misquoting him, but it's something like that.
Yeah, we get the
probably
point.
with a few salty words tossed in there, but
he was a bit of a character, wasn't he?
He was a character, that's for sure. Well, Mark, I could keep talking to you all night long, but I should probably go in a little bit. I wanted to ask a couple of things before we go, though. First, let's see, what was I going to ask? What's two things? Can you recommend some nonfiction authors or books that you would highly recommend that you've read recently? And also, what do you have coming up on your channel if you want to talk about anything or tease anything? That's a two-part question, I know, but.
So I've been reading through John Richardson's multi-volume biography of Picasso. I just finished one. I think I got 2 more to go. Those are magnificent. And then,
he sounds like a not very nice guy, from what I've read.
Oh no,
and seen.
Yeah, he's horrible, but the books are great. And you can sit there and say, "I'm glad I never knew him." So you get that. I've been rereading a lot of Samuel Eliot Morison, who did the naval history of World War II. So I'm working my way through those. But I'm at
how many volumes are in that?
Geez, I don't know. I was thinking that the other day because I picked them up really randomly. So I've actually read them out of order, and it's fine. Because you're jumping all around the world anyway. He might be in Guadalcanal.
Is it covering different? Is it broken up in different areas or different?
Yeah,
theaters?
It's regional. Yeah, theaters of war. So you'd have Guadalcanal, or you'd have the Coral Sea or something like that. But I need to find out how many there are because I got a shelf this big of them, and I know I'm missing tons of them. So
wow.
But that's a lifetime, one of those things. But the writing is great. You can move through it pretty good. So, yeah, I like that sort of stuff. Like I say, this Fremont one, the Nevins one, I'm really enjoying. So,
what about the one about the British? The
James Morris
or British Empire.
Yeah. So this is a 3-volume set. I think it's called Pax Britannica. So far, really good. It's got a huge reputation, but this is my first time with it. James
and who's that author again, please, Richard? Mark? What was the author's name?
James Morris, who became Jan Morris and was a very famous travel writer. And she wrote a wonderful book that was in a series National Geographic put out called The Writer's Home in Wales. Oh. It's about her Welsh home, which is an old stone full of books. Just marvelous.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. No, this book was, because she gives Welsh lore and history and then her family's history there. And just takes you through the house. And I'm just thinking, I would love. She's passed away, but I would
Did
love.
they
to
set up
see
her
it.
house as a museum, or was
That's
it
a
sold
great question. I have no idea. I have
Mm.
seen pictures online, but they all seem to be with her there. So
I would hope that her heirs would have done that, but who knows? If they
I
could
know
have
her
gotten-
son was a Welsh poet, writes in the original language, and had a house
Oh.
right next door. So yeah, I don't know. It's a fascinating book. It's a short read, but if you ever get a chance to get a copy, you'd really enjoy
Okay.
it.
So James Morris, who became Jan Morris. Okay.
Yeah, Jan Morris was famous as a travel writer, one of the great travel
Okay.
writers. Yeah.
Yeah, I love travel memoirs. I've read some really good ones, and one of my favorites is Gerald Durrell. Have you ever read any Gerald Durrell?
I have. Yeah, just recently. Yes, I really liked My Family and Other whatever it was.
Animals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have is it the Garden of the Gods that has all three of those in it? I can't pick
Oh,
it
I
off
didn't
the
know.
shelf
Is
now.
there's three of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
I didn't
first
know
one
that.
is the first one is of course the most notable one, but it's the Corfu trilogy, and I have there's Birds,
Oh,
Beasts,
I
and
didn't-
Other Relatives,
Okay.
and the Garden of the Gods is the last one. So they're all
That's
good. He just
chunky
continues the
book.
stories.
That's a big old book.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know David at Grudge Geek starting to read some Durrell. He's
I
wonderful.
read his brother. I read his brother's books.
Yeah, Lawrence Durrell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's the question. Which Durrell do you prefer? I haven't read the Alexandria Quartet or any of him, but
I didn't like his fiction as much as I liked his travel writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're well written. But Gerald does a good job poking a bit of fun at his brother's
There's some scenes in there you never forget. Yeah. I don't think
Yeah.
I'd play around with the critters the same way he did, though.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that his books will get put back into print more because of the Durrell's TV series that ITV did. And
Oh yeah, I saw some
which
of
was
that.
pretty fun. It was focusing more on the mom and making
Right.
up quite a few things, I'm sure. But Jerry was still there. But yeah, those are wonderful books, and I really like Elspeth Huxley's Flame Trees of Tika or Thika or
I
whatever.
have
So
not read that.
It's
I've known about it
wonderful.
forever.
really,
I need
really
to.
recommend it.
Yeah.
She wrote a sequel called The Mottled Lizard or something, which I haven't
Oh, I
read.
didn't know that either. Yeah.
And she wrote some really great detective novels. She wrote three. One called Murder on Safari. I think it's an ex-library copy I have, but this is wonderful. So because she knew Africa very well, and she wrote the three of them in the 30s, and that's the best of them, where there is a murder on a safari, and I think Vatchel, Inspector Vatchel, is her detective. So
Oh, okay.
anyway, it's really original and really interesting. Yeah. So, but yeah, I highly recommend The Flame Trees of Tika. I think you would really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I know you don't have
I
the
still
shortage
have a
of things
copy.
to read, but
Yeah, I think I have a copy. I just haven't gotten to it yet. It's always
yeah.
been there. Yeah, I need to do it.
you have a lot to get to. I'm impressed by, and I'm assuming you have. I think you did a tour not too long ago, a newer tour. You have something. You added some new shelves, and you got something over by the doorway. Is the doorway to your right there?
Yeah, the doorway's over here. There's a window there, and I can almost touch the walls. Yeah.
Well, I like how it's really cool though. You got a comfy chair and you got
My
your
wife
space
got
heater.
this for me last year. Yeah, probably encouraging
what did
me
you
to
use-
stay out here.
Stay out of the house.
Yeah,
So, so your other book storage is mostly in the house. Do you have anything else that you
Yeah.
kind of like put away that you have to go in and dig through some boxes to access, or is it
No.
all pretty much out where you can see it?
it's out where I can see it. There's I think I have about 5,000 books. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's spread out in the house, like the living room. My wife says I'm saving her a fortune on wall art because I just
Well, you obviously got a pretty understanding wife that
oh, she's
buying
fantastic.
Folio Society, Aubrey and Matron books, and allowing books spread out everywhere. So that's cool.
Yeah, I
My
told
wife's
her,
pretty
"Leave
good
that on
about
it."
that too.
Yeah, that's not. I told her I don't collect expensive shotguns or sports cars. It's a lot cheaper what I'm doing, So she's good with it.
And you're not, knocking back. You're not gambling or knocking back whiskey right, left, and center. So there you go. Right. It's pretty. If it's a vice, it's a good vice to have, I guess.
Yeah, it's easy to deal with. I tell my children, I say, "Hey, someday all this is going to be yours."
And they're like, "No, thanks, Dad."
they roll their eyes,
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have to herc all these books out somewhere. Yeah, it is something the collector has to think about, right? What's going to happen to this? I'm trying. I don't have a lot of valuable books. I got a couple, so I'm going to try to make a note of them for my wife. That she could offload them for some cash. But most of them, most of them are. Who knows where they're going to go? I don't like the idea of burdening her with that. But I think I'm going to be around for a little while longer.
Be here for a while. Yeah.
I'm trying anyway, trying to stay healthy. But
you can put them in the mausoleum. When they
there you go. Yeah, that's right. Just bury me with books. There you go.
That's right.
Well, anything you got coming up in the immediate future, Mark, that you want to talk about?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm doing a live stream at Sean D. Standfast. He tricked me into doing. Here's the rules. It's a top 10 science fiction TV series, but they can't be animated and they can't be currently in production.
Oh, so that's easy for me, but I'm sure for you too.
I struggled. Really? Yes, I watched a lot of them, but I don't remember every detail. And I wonder if
I'm
I
such
went
a
back,
geek about that,
Well, you would know way more than I do, and he knows more than I do. So this is really going to be problematic. So
well, just go across the pond for some of the British ones, like Blake Seven and Doctor Who and the Survivors and the Changes and all of those.
So he knows all that stuff, but I'm a bit parochial. So
he's living in England, isn't he, Sean?
Yeah.
He might still be in the chat. Sorry, Shauna, you might still be here, but I've kind of forgotten about the chat recently. I don't know if anyone's still there. Yes, there he is. We got a few. Okay. Garage Geek saying, I've read 3 of his epics. Well, you got a bunch for the future. And Sean saying, Flame Trees is fantastic. Everything she did was great. Yeah, thanks, Sean. I think Elspeth Huxley was an awesome writer. Yeah. I haven't read all of her work, but I've read her mystery novels and I think I might have actually read the Spotted Lizard or the Speckled Lizard. I forgot what it's called. Her sequel. I think it's the Mottled Lizard.
We wonder why we all end up with so many doggone books. We get on a live stream with you.
Yeah, we're feeding each other's addiction. That's for sure.
Writing down names.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll have to go back into and watch this again to get all the names of the people that you were talking about, because you mentioned a whole bunch of interesting people. So anyway, thank you so much, Mark, for joining in. I'll look for that live with Sean D. Standfast. I'll be working tomorrow, but I'll catch up with it after work and be interested to see what your list. You had to scrabble together at the last minute there.
Oh man, he's like this. He knows them all, and I'm probably gonna have some embarrassing moments, but hey, we'll live with them.
Well, yeah, there's just do a Wikipedia search to jog your memory, I guess. But
yeah. I mean, because
like you said, you've probably seen them all. You just can't think of them right now, right?
Yeah, and you mentioned Logan's Run, right?
Yeah, I haven't. Well, I haven't. The TV series I don't think is particularly great. Probably I haven't seen it in years. But there was the Planet of the Apes series, which wasn't great either, but it was all right.
Yeah.
Space 1999 is dry for me, but looks really good. Battlestar Galactica, of course, and Buck Rogers, which are not great, either of them, but fun. I'm trying to think.
I think that's what he said was they don't have to be great. You just have to have liked them.
Okay.
Fun, because a lot of these would fall apart if you get.
Well, there are a lot of ones that were canceled prematurely. I know Fox was canceling them right and left. There was VR5, and there was, there were. I can't even think of all the ones that Fox had, and of course Firefly, and that
gets frustrating. It's frustrating when they do that. You lose your story arc, and you never know what happened.
Yeah, they have the problem is they start with these ambitious story arcs and then they don't finish them. So it's unfortunate. Yeah. That's why something that's kind of more episodic with maybe a slight background arc like a Firefly or something is better, because it stands up to watching better. But Well, I'll look for that. That sounds fun. I'm always around to talk. Always happy to think about and discuss, science fiction shows and stuff. I need to read more science fiction novels. I read
Yeah.
City by Clifford D. Simak this year and really liked it.
Oh,
And,
that's Sean's specialty is Simak on his channel.
yeah, I think Pat at Book Chat with Pat said that she's in some sort of book club reading Simak.
Yeah, with him. Yeah, that's Sean.
Are you in that one with them?
No, I can't keep up with Simak. I've read a couple and I like him. I just have too much going on.
They're doing like one a month or something, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
good group over there. I watch them when they put out a video because I learned so much.
I have to check out some more of those because I want to read more of his. I got Waystation on ebook, but I want to get a physical copy. That's something I'm going to try to remedy when I go back next year. I'm going to try to hit the used bookstores and look for some authors that I hadn't previously paid much attention to. I mean, I have a handful of Simak, mostly his fantasy stuff, but
Right.
I'm going to have a real laser focus of some things I want to look for this year when I go back that I've seen from all the BookTube channels I've been watching. A lot of
That's the problem.
yeah, that's the
Putting
problem.
list together.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks so much, Mark, for taking the time to do this. Really appreciate it. Let's do it again sometime.
Oh, absolutely. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for bearing with some of the tech issues there. And we'll look forward to seeing some more stuff on your channel. And thanks for when you pop into my other lives. I've always appreciate that. And I'm glad that you were in one all the way this time and last time too, because sometimes you'd come in at the tail end. I'd feel really bad that we were ending as you were coming in. So.
I go and I closed them down again.
It wasn't anything like that, of course. But anyway, thanks for the people who watched and who are still watching. And thanks to Mark. And we will see you some other time. We'll have another one of these days. So thanks so much. And we'll say goodbye for now. Oh, here we go. We got, let's see. One last comment. Rob at L Space, only 10. That would be the hardest part for me. Only 10. Yeah, because Rob's a huge science fiction guy. Seriously, check out his first intro video where he goes through his library, and his wife makes like miniature figures and things. So that'll remind you of a whole bunch of science fiction TV series right there.
Yeah, he's going to hold his head and go, "What is he talking about?"
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to do the best I can, so we'll see.
That's all right. You'll do fine, I'm sure. Well, anyway, thanks, Mark. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you later. Take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend there back in the States or North America, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.